Let this circle represent a newsletter making $10,000 every month. This profitable newsletter is just one of many newsletters today, from those making as little as $1 a day to those making millions every single year. The founders of Morning Brew recently went through an acquisition which valued their newsletter at a whopping $75 million to Business Insider. In a search for the ultimate newsletter equation, I've spent the past 2 weeks analyzing over 20 newsletters with all kinds of business models and in all types of niche. In this video, we will uncover the analysis behind this equation and set you up on a path to building your very own newsletter. Let's go. A newsletter is just another way of sharing content with your audience. It comes in the form of email, using words to convey various ideas. So who are the people in this space? The big boys. Newsletters are commonly associated with news, timely information about current events in today's world. Such news tend to be produced by large traditional newspaper outlets like Wall Street Journal or CNBC or Channel News Asia. Many of them now have a digital arm that delivers daily news via email. These media companies have been here for a long time and are worth hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. The daredevils. Despite the overwhelming dominance by big media companies, a few newsletters have recently rose to fame in this area, namely The Skim, The Hustle, Morning Brew, all of which are newsletters worth over $10 million. But how did they manage to take a small pie of the media market? Their secret to high subscriber engagement is simple: writing daily emails that feels personal and connects with their audience at a deeper level while solving readers' informational needs. The experts and influencers. Newsletters are not limited to discussions about current events. Some newsletters are designed with blog-like content, with every email delivery usually discussing a particular topic or sharing an opinion about an event. These newsletters are usually written by experts or influencers in a particular field and focus on premium content so as to encourage readers to subscribe. Most of the time, these newsletters are an extension to the author's blog, the curators. With the abundance of content today, some newsletters have been created to help readers manage their time better by giving them only the most essential news or information they need to know. These newsletters focus on aggregating links and occasionally adding short commentaries with the goal of providing reliable, bite-sized content that takes less than 5 minutes to read every day. Remember, newsletters are ultimately a form of content and is affected by all principles of content creation. Like all content, the goal is to engage your audience by addressing their needs and wants. The better you can do this, the more successful you are as a media brand. Pay very close attention now. Stop chasing money. This is applicable to building any business, but in building a newsletter, stop writing newsletters with the goal of making money. Instead, let money be a byproduct of you successfully addressing your audience entertainment and educational needs. Remember, you are paid in proportion to the perceived value that you give. When you are fully focused on giving value, money comes naturally. People want to pay you to get what they want. Think about it. Are there some things in your life you can't live without and will totally pay money for it without thinking twice? Enough said. The question is then how? Well, to do this, you need to have a comprehensive understanding of who your audience is and what they need. This comes from either being in their shoes or from talking to them extensively. With this understanding, you want to focus on writing on topics that can have a marked improvement in their lives. Such writing should at a minimum be reliable and ideally be written in a format that makes most sense with your audience. Maybe a hint of wittiness or in-depth technical analysis. A well-written newsletter is what makes people stay. They come to expect the same quality content delivered to their inbox. But with so much competition for people's attention, a newsletter needs to add an element of flair to get people to click on their emails or subscribe to their newsletter in the first place. In some way, email is no different from other forms of content. The goal is to provide a quick preview of the content that encourages users to click and then meet or exceed their expectations with the rest of the email. What makes email different is that email tends to be a bit more personal, and people tend to check their inboxes regularly. In some sense, they have given permission for everything to hit their inbox. But on other social media platforms, some content is always forced upon them. As you will see later, some of the best newsletters convey their content similarly to how friends have conversations, which is what people expect from non-work emails when opening their inboxes. Now that you know what great content is, let's find out how to get paid. Morning Brew, valued at $75 million by Business Insider. The Hustle, acquired at $27 million by HubSpot. The Athletic, purchased for $550 million by the New York Times. In a highly competitive media industry, small players tend to be acquired by other media conglomerates or by software companies trying to increase their reach. Regardless of whether your goal is to build $1 million newsletter and sell it, or simply use it to support your financial needs, newsletters typically fall into two business models: advertising and subscription. Advertising. Newsletters make money through advertising by providing advertisers with an ad space in their newsletter. In plain words, newsletters are compensated for sharing their audience's attention time, while advertisers pay to get marketing access to a wider audience. An ad space typically costs within a range of $20 and $100 per 1,000 impressions. Now, impressions are not the same thing as subscribers. An impression only occurs if a subscriber opens the email sent and sees the advertisement. As such, the revenue made from each newsletter sent is equal to the number of impressions divided by 1,000 times $20 to $100. Let's generalize this equation further. Advertising revenue is equal to number of subscribers divided by 1,000 times the average open rate times $20 to $100. For a newsletter with 100,000 subscribers and a 10% open rate, with $50 cost per 1,000 impressions, each newsletter sent will generate an income of $5,000. Subscription. Newsletters also make money through subscriptions, which, as the name suggests, readers pay a recurring fee to retain access to content. Such content tends to be harder to create, whether through additional research, tools, or effort in writing high-quality articles. More importantly, they focus on giving value to readers, which is more easily quantifiable, such as improving one of the eternal pillars: wealth, health, and relationships. For example, a reader is more likely to pay for a newsletter that provides some ideas and methods for him or her to make a side income, or one that provides a clear routine for each body type to improve fitness. Subscription revenue is easily calculated and is equal to the number of subscribers multiplied by the cost of the subscription. Subscription-based newsletters are preferable, especially since advertising-based newsletters are heavily dependent on availability of advertisers and are sometimes unpredictable in terms of earnings, although it is much easier to build one. Generally, subscription-based newsletters tend to be worth about 5 to 8 times revenue, while advertising-based newsletters tend to be valued at 1 to 3 times revenue. This is why newsletters, which having grown significantly from sharing free content, are now increasingly moving towards premium content and other products for a more stable source of income. As we alluded to earlier, building a newsletter doesn't have to include a multi-million-dollar end goal. Not only can few people achieve this feat, but most people don't even want that kind of stress. The purpose is to show you what's possible, so you can figure out what makes sense for you. The goal is simple: a newsletter that makes more than enough for your lifestyle. Now, a great business for anyone boils down to its ability for two things: the ability to scale and the ability to automate. In other words, to make the most amount of money while spending the least amount of time. A newsletter is inherently scalable. Any content created can be sent to millions of readers, and better yet, such content can be repurposed for other mediums. A newsletter has the potential to be automated. You can purchase tools to make the process more efficient and hire writers to create your content. Your goal hereon is to figure out how to maximize these two capacities. So you might be wondering, how do I start building a newsletter? The first step is to understand what you're getting into. Keep in mind that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. In fact, the average newsletter business takes 1 to 2 years before gaining some traction and being able to monetize. A person working on this full-time might take much less time, but remember, you have to be in it for the long game. So,
How do you decide what to write about? Morning Brew found that their college friends didn't have any source of business and tech news to refer to. TLDR realized that there needs to be a way to find the best articles in business and tech without spending hours combing through the vast amount of information available. Daily Scheme wanted to provide smart, incisive analysis of the events of the day for people who were busy yet interested in keeping up with current events. What you want to do is find something that you can write about or curate that solves some kind of access to information problem that people are facing and have the passion and perseverance to work on it for a few years. But there's more to it. Your choice of topic will be strongly intertwined with how you make money, whether advertising or subscriptions. Your main goal at the start is to hit critical mass and allow it to grow organically afterwards. If you have a budget, paid advertising on non-conventional platforms that are extremely targeted can help. Otherwise, participate in various forums and social media platforms to build awareness of your newsletter. Once you have achieved critical mass, the next step is to work on optimizing growth. And there it is, your equation to building a newsletter business. Of course, there are so many intricacies and details about building a newsletter that you can't get from this video. The goal of this video is simply to get you started.